What do you get asked all the time?
How do I lose my belly fat?
Yeah, it is like a big concern for a lot of people. That means there's lots of people out there trying to profit from it with all these wild and wonderful theories on how to blitz belly fat. We're going to cut the BS.
We're going to cut the BS.
We've got 10 belly fat myths.
Let's go.
There are certain exercises you can do that are better for belly fat.
I get asked this all the time.
You've got to cut carbs.
No.
Detox diet.
Yeah, it's bullshit, isn't it?
Cardio is what you need to burn that belly fat. Stress belly, meno belly. Belly fat is just going to happen as you get older. Middle-aged spread. Belly fat burners.
But nothing burns fat unless you're going to take a blowtorch to your stomach.
Waist trainers and body wraps.
It's wild, isn't it?
There's no magic pill.
There just isn't.
Let's find a way. Because there is a way. Should we just end the episode there?
Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Stacey.
And this is the Body Smart Podcast.
And today we are answering one of the questions that I know you get asked all the time. When you do stories and you say, ask me any question you want, what do you get asked all the time?
How do I lose my belly fat?
Yeah, it's a common question, I would think, for every personal trainer on the planet. If you go on to how do I lose on Google, you'll get weight and then you'll get belly fat. Belly fat. Yeah, it's like a big concern for a lot of people. And obviously, like as women, there's like a vanity side to it. And I don't mean that in like a harsh way of using that word, but it is like, you know, I want to be able to wear clothes without it feeling tight around my tummy. And I want to be able to wear like body fitting clothes without worrying about a lower belly pooch. But it's not just about how you look. And I think that there's more awareness now of actually having extra fat around your abdomen is a sign of higher health risks. So we have got some facts and figures here, which I think it's important to know. If you were thinking about, you know, losing belly fat because of you want your clothes to fit nice, great. But actually knowing this can also help take those steps if you're struggling to find motivation, maybe because actually every extra 10 centimeters around your waist increases your risk of all-cause mortality. So like your risk of death from any illness, disease by 11%.
Wow.
So it's quite a lot.
That's significant.
Yeah.
That's why there's the test, isn't it? The height to waist ratio.
Yes.
Which is your waist should be no more than half your height, which I used to think was like, that's really, really big. But that's typically a sign. So sometimes people look at BMI and go, well, my BMI is fine, but like if you another good measure to look at that to see just like for overall health would be height to waist ratio.
Yeah, and that's because if you carry lots of fat around your middle, there's a high chance of some of it being what they call visceral fat. So it's not like the fat you have under your skin, subcutaneous fat, like you would have on your arms or on your legs. It's around all your organs, and it's actually made up of different kind of fat cells as well. And it isn't just like a energy store. It has other metabolic roles. So it releases inflammatory substances, affects your hormones. It's also linked to diabetes and heart disease, high blood pressure. So it's not just, oh, I've got a little bit of extra body fat. It's like kind of a different story altogether because of where it is. And I think the thing is, you know, there is that cultural, social element of wanting to reduce belly fat, but there is more awareness now of the health risks of carrying extra abdominal fat for this reason. So that means there's lots of people out there trying to profit from it and coming up with all these wild and wonderful theories and programs and methods that you can use on how to blitz belly fat, which we thought we're going to cut the BS because a lot of them are BS. So we've got 10 belly fat myths.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. First one, there are certain exercises you can do that are better for belly fat.
No. I get asked this all the time. And again, it's, you know, logically you can think, hey, if I train that area, if I do abdominal exercises, then I'm going to be able to lose fat off that area. But that's not how the body loses fat. You basically breathe out the majority of your fat by being in a calorie or an energy deficit. And where that fat comes off is determined by your genetics. So you can typically see this sometimes in like your family, you know, your cousins, your mum, your dad, your siblings. You can kind of see like, hey, does our family carry more weight in their legs or carry more weight on their stomach? And that just could be something that you are genetically more predisposed to holding more fat in that area. But yes, the training, whether it's your stomach or your arms or your legs, it doesn't mean that the fat will come off that area. All you can do is training a consistent calorie deficit, and eventually the fat will come off that area. Now, you always want to, we speak about this all the time, you always want to maximize fat loss. The best way to maximize fat loss while being in a calorie deficit is to make sure you're doing strength training. So doing full body strength training, that's going to maximize the percentage. So when we lose weight, we don't just lose like 100% fat or 100% muscle. It's a percentage of both. And you want that percentage to be as high as possible with fat. So you maintain or keep as much muscle as possible when you lose weight. And in that way, your actual body fat percentage is going down. So it's actually one of the big issues with weight loss medications at the moment, is that a lot of people are taking these medications and are not doing strength training. And the percentage of weight that they're losing is closer to 50 to 75% from muscle and about 25 to 50% from fat, which means people are losing weight but getting fatter by percentage, which is not good. Like, it's not what, when you look at that toned look, the health measurements, you want to be able to maintain and keep as much muscle as possible.
Yeah. And there is obviously so many workouts out there. If you go on YouTube, like workout for belly fat
blitz, 5-minute belly out.
You will find pages of them, but the fact is there is no one better exercise than any other. However, you did just mention strength training.
Yes.
And what I think is often mind-blowing when I speak to clients when they're like, oh, I want to work on my belly, I'll be like, okay, we're going to do loads of squats and deadlifts. And they're like, what? Because actually what you want to do is maximize how much energy you use in the session and how much muscle you build, so you use more energy after the session. And where are your biggest muscles? In your legs and your glutes.
Yep.
So if you wanted to genuinely do the best exercise for belly fat, it's going to be the things that are going to burn the most fat, and that's going to be working those legs because they've got some big ass muscles in there.
Exactly. So yeah, your compound movements, your squats, your deadlifts, you think about them, you're hinging from the knees, you're hinging from the hips, you're using pretty much, like on a deadlift, nearly every muscle in your body.
And you are still using your abs.
Oh, you 100%. That's one of the great things with near enough every compound movement. So a compound movement is going to be where two joints move. So either the knee and hip or the shoulder and elbow. You're likely going to be engaging your core like quite significantly. And then you can even move that. So you're doing like unilateral exercises. So let's say you do, instead of doing a squat, you do a split squat. Your core will be engaged even more, doing those exercises to keep you balanced. So your core is always being worked. And most people have actually got, not to say that people don't have underdeveloped cores, they definitely do. But like if you're training regularly, you'll probably have more of a developed core than you believe.
I actually never did core before I had my son. I literally never did core.
Yeah.
As like, I didn't do crunches at the end of my workout. I just did compound lifts.
Yeah.
And I had a very strong core. But what I will say is what some people see on themselves as I've got a fat lower belly and I want to change it is a lot of the time is postural as well. So if you stand with your hips tilted forwards, it kind of makes your belly stick out. And if that's the problem for you and you feel like actually I haven't got a lot of fat to lose, but I feel like I've got a fat belly, then there are some core exercises which just kind of correct that pelvic tilt and bring your core more into alignment. A lot of Pilates movements, things like dead bugs are really good for that. So that doesn't actually help you lose belly fat, but it makes your physique look different, and it's probably the look that you're after.
Yeah, and I would also say as well, like just coming back to it, if you build more muscle, if you have more muscle in your body, but don't gain any extra weight, or your body fat percentage goes down as proxy as well. So they're just like other things that you can do where you can have, by having more muscle, you'll have a lower body fat percentage. And if you build more muscle in certain areas, not so much your stomach, because you'd have to have like ginormous abs, but like let's say you build more muscle on your arms or on your legs, if you did carry a little bit more fat in there, that the ratio of fat to muscle can change. So you can actually look leaner at a higher body fat percentage as well.
Yeah. So you can't pick a certain exercise that's best for belly fat. No. But if you were wanting to lose belly fat, there are exercises that you might want to prioritize. They're just not what you might think.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so next up, this is a common one that goes around, like every week. You got to cut carbs. Carbs making you fat.
Mm-hmm. So carbs are just one of the 3 macronutrients. So you could say 4 if you include alcohol. 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories. Typically what just happens is people cut carbs. They walk into the supermarket and right, I can't eat carbs. So basically probably 80% of the foods that they were typically buying no longer end up in the trolley. And a lot of those foods can be high in calories, highly palatable, easy to overeat on. So by people cutting carbs, they put themselves into a massive calorie deficit, and then they drop a lot of water. So people think, oh, by cutting carbs, I've lost loads of weight. And
Yeah.
you might feel a bit like lighter as well from doing that, because the stored water and energy in the muscles, glycogen, depletes really fast. And you see this huge drop. So people think, oh, I need to cut carbs to lose weight or to lose belly fat. The problem is that people don't cut carbs forever. Typically, they tend to reintroduce them back in, and then you have the reverse effect of what we just said. So lots of excess calories, lots of water gain, and then people kind of just go, oh, it kind of reaffirms the belief, like, when I cut carbs, I'll lose weight really fast. When I eat carbs again, I gain weight really easily. And that's just not the case at all. Like,
Yeah.
Again, same thing. You want to lose belly fat. You've got to be in that consistent calorie deficit. And you want to ideally have all three macronutrients, your protein, carbs, and fat, and have a good balance that works for the lifestyle that you want to live.
Because also there isn't actually any evidence to show that a low carb diet is better for losing weight or belly fat in particular. So you don't need to deprive yourself. And actually your brain and your body really like carbs. I know sometimes that can be a bit of a challenge, but like it is a very efficient, good energy source for your body. So if you fuel your body well with smartly chosen carbs, actually you're giving it what it needs to work efficiently, and then it can use the protein and the fats for things that it needs to use those for.
Exactly.
So you just don't need to go down that route.
No.
The other thing though I do want to cover is, again, this might be a reason you feel like you're not very happy with your belly, but it might not be belly fat, and that might be bloating. And it's something that we have lots of clients experience, particularly if they are eating lots of processed foods. There can be many things in processed foods that can cause bloating, including sweeteners, certain kinds of additives to foods, but also even in whole foods, there can be intolerances to like beans, grains. So it might not actually be that you've got fat that you want to lose. Potentially you're just not happy with your belly because of the way it looks. And that could be something to look into. Like, are there certain foods when you eat them, you feel worse, your trousers are tighter.
Yeah.
And that, if people are cutting carbs, might be part of the reason that they feel it helps.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I've definitely gone down that exercise myself, in the sense of I had foods that were like really upset my stomach for a while, and I just went through a process of doing almost like a little bit of an elimination diet until I realized what it was. And now it's like, maybe I'll eat them foods, but I'll choose when I eat them because they can drain your energy, or they can, you can feel like, no one wants to feel like really bloated at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon when your stomach feels like it's bursting out its pants.
Yeah, and I've definitely got this like intolerance to certain FODMAPs, which are like certain types of carbs. And for me, it's things that people would think are healthy. It's like apples blow me up.
Yeah.
Onions, not a good idea. So you might be thinking, yeah, but I'm eating really healthy. I should be losing weight, but I'm not. You might be bloated, depending on how much weight you've got to lose.
Yeah.
So I would just say, keeping a food diary in that instance might be helpful, and it might help you kind of separate. It's not the carbs in as a big group that's the problem. It's maybe like these few foods.
Yeah, and also like it is normal to wake up feeling a bit leaner and to go to bed feeling like a little bit more bloated. Like not like drastically bloated, but like you've probably drank like a couple of pints, like quite a lot of water throughout the day. You've eaten quite a lot of food. Your body's digesting some of that food and processing it. So I think that's just sometimes is, it kind of ties back into like other episodes we've spoken about, like that whole comparison of like social media. Like a lot of these photos that you're looking at, those women do not look like that when they wake up to when they go to bed. Their bodies will change throughout the day as well, and so will yours. And that's normal to an extent. Like if you're like painfully bloated or getting really bloated all the time, feel like you need to unbutton your pants, that's probably not ideal, but a little bit of bloating throughout the day is pretty normal.
Yeah, definitely. So carbs are not the enemy. Myth number 3, detox teas, detox juices, detox diets.
Yeah, so luckily for all of us, we have this inbuilt detox system called your liver and kidneys. And we do not need to be taking, detox teas and detox diets to cleanse our body. Most of the time when people are doing stuff like that, they're spending a lot of time in the toilet. And they may be just doing like a water fast. They're doing basically something that's like probably like sub 800 calories, doing a massive deficit. They feel really hungry, and they associate that like pain of this is hard with I'm cleansing my body. And like to be frank, you're probably just unnecessarily suffering, and then we'll probably rebound as soon as you stop doing that, just as we said with the carbs prior. So you don't need, like, the best way you could like detox and cleanse your body is drink enough water, exercise regularly, eat predominantly whole foods.
I think that's a good point though, because often if you feel like, I should do a detox, it's possibly because you're not eating the best diet. and
Yeah.
you know it. If you were eating 80% whole foods, you probably wouldn't think, oh, I should probably do a detox because what are you detoxing from? Whereas if you know, actually, my diet isn't the best it could be, I'm relying on fast food a lot, processed food a lot, you probably don't need to go to that extreme of doing a detox.
Yeah.
Maybe just level up your general diet to include more whole foods, and you would feel that improvement as well.
Yeah, the best detox you could do there is go to the supermarket and only fill it with foods that existed 100 years ago, and do that. Like literally just eat those foods and you will feel significantly better.
Yeah. Because the fact is, you would, like, if you do a strict detox diet, like you said, on 800 calories, you will lose weight.
Yeah.
And it will be, a lot of that will be water weight because it's just very quick kind of calorie restriction, but it's not going to last. And you're going to be so hungry after the 4 or 5 days you manage to stick at it that you will probably eat back everything and more.
And there's a complete lack of nutrients. You're going to feel tired, you're going to feel fatigued, you're going to get poor sleep. Versus you go to the supermarket and you only buy foods that were here 100 years ago and you eat as much of them as you want. Most of the time you'll find you'll get full off eating them. So you'll actually, your natural satiation levels will kick in. Like you'll go, I can't eat any more of the food that you're having in front of you. You'll get tons of nutrients, probably loads of fiber. You'll probably feel great. And yeah, you know, it's like that's probably the...
Yeah. So if you want to detox for your belly fat, just do it with the 100-year-old diet.
Yeah, there we go. We need to
We'll
put a
brand that
stamp
one.
on this, yeah.
We can sell that for hundreds. Okay, myth number 4. Cardio is what you need to burn that belly fat.
So no, again, I think this is like just going to be like a repeated theme throughout this, which is like, again, there's no exercise that elicits fat loss. And the thing that you've got to take into account a lot is like going and burning like 1,000 calories from exercise takes a long time. You've either got to be extremely fit that you can either keep a high output for a really long period of time, like I say, like 80, 90 minutes, maybe more. Most women, I would say, are burning, if they're like lifting weights or doing some sort of exercise, and it's not the amount of calories that the machine says on you, are probably burning between 200 and I'd say 500 calories in a 60-minute workout. So...
And the reason you specified women is because women tend to be smaller physically and have less muscle mass.
Smaller, lighter, less muscle mass. And just like typically what I've seen off, and we've seen off like just coaching, you know, thousands of women and roughly seeing like the intensity of the workouts, how long people are working out for, type of exercises that they're doing. So, you know, most people aren't burning that many calories. So it's always going to be much easier to reduce calories or caloric intake from food. And then with some lifestyle modification. So increasing maybe your step count and just like, again, coming back to doing that strength training. So when you do lose weight, you lose the most amount of fat. Cardio, you will burn the most amount of calories per minute doing a higher intensity cardio session. So whether that's just like, you know, like a consistent run for 60 minutes or being on a Stairmaster or whatever else, you will burn more calories doing that than say resistance training or most other things. However, it just depends what you're going for. Like if you're just in that mindset of like, I'm just doing this workout to burn calories, fine, I guess, for a season, if you've got the time, if your mindset's in the right place. But then if you start to dread it and hate it, again, fine. Most people can persist through if it's like a season. But I'd much rather somebody get excited about going to do like a weightlifting session or some sort of group class, making sure that they're keeping onto the muscle or building muscle throughout a fat loss phase. And yeah, enjoying the workouts. Like enjoying your workouts is just like a hack to sustaining your results.
I think that's a really key point because a lot of these are around like, what's the best exercise for belly fat? The best exercise for belly fat is the one that you can do regularly and it becomes part of your lifestyle. And that's not actually because it's for your belly fat. It's because of everything else that it supports. Because actually, if we look at the research, a combination of aerobic and resistance training, so cardio and weightlifting, is actually the most effective mix. So if you can lift weights for a few times a week and cardio doesn't have to be running, right? Cardio could be, you really enjoy a sport and you end up running around the pitch for 40 minutes. It could be dancing. It could be Zumba. It could be like myriad things. But a mix of those across your week is going to be the secret to burning the belly fat, but actually doing it for ever.
We don't, I don't think we have it in the UK. It's called paddle. Actually, Sai
it
said
is a thing. It's starting to be a thing.
I think it's more like a European thing. I think in the States, it's like a racquetball. That might be correct. But it's I played that a couple of times when I was over in like Spain. And apparently, Sai might be able to correct me on this, the Liverpool FC football club went to like one of the European countries and got it. And apparently it's like one of the first built paddle stadiums is in like Liverpool's football ground.
Something like that.
Yeah. They just come back and was like, we really like this. Can we have it built in the grounds?
Oh yeah, it's a bit like squash, but with a smaller.
It's like tennis. It's 4-person, but you're in basically like a box. So as you hit the ball over, if you normally if you smash the ball and you're like, oh, I've got that, it can bounce back off the wall, and as long as it doesn't touch the floor, it can touch the floor once.
Yeah.
So if it hits the floor and then hits the wall, you can hit it again before and knock it back over. So it's very intense. I played it with a bunch of people when I was over there, but it's just so fun, and it's
that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
I think it's that bouncing off the wall bit that reminds me of squash, because squash is also very intense in terms of cardio, isn't it? It's like very quick bursts of movement. So
and it's like
amazing for you.
Yeah, when you're playing a game like that, it's like competitive. You're having a laugh. Like an hour flies. You know what I mean? You're not even thinking like, oh, I'm out of breath from this. You're just playing like next ball. And going and doing that for 60 minutes versus like being on the Stairmaster for 60 minutes. It's just a cheat code to getting regular exercise in.
And at the other end of that spectrum, I think a lot of people forget that walking can be cardio.
It is, yeah, 100%. Walking is, in my opinion, the most underrated form of exercise, because people don't even think walking is exercise. And if anyone's watched the Blue Zones, which I've banged on quite a lot, just like one of the common traits of all these people who are living over 100, they walk a lot. Like they walk a lot every day, and some of them walk up hills a lot every day. And like that's the thing that's kept them like healthy to over 100.
Yeah,
it's just like regular walking.
And it's something that you can do every day, whereas running for an hour every day isn't like some people who love running will do that, but it's not realistic.
I couldn't think of anything worse.
You what?
I couldn't think of anything worse.
I mean, I like the odd run on a sunny day, but you're not going to catch me in the middle of December in the UK at 6 a.m. going for an hour-long run.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. But I will go for a walk with the dog at 6 a.m. with my hood up and like trudge it out in the rain. And for some reason, that feels fine.
Yeah.
So, I think the point is, most people don't mind a walk. And actually, if we look at the calorie burn, if you were to get your 10,000 steps, for most people, that's like 400 or 500 calories just from walking.
And you can do that every day.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you were to run, maybe you get 500, 600 calories, but you've got to run every day.
Yeah. And again, it's more about like consistency wins. Like that's what it comes down to. So like if you're like, hey, I can hit a 10,000 step goal every day moving forward, and you're like, I can do that. I can find ways to adjust my lifestyle and how I live day to day to do that. Like you're gonna burn like a shitload of calories, and you might find it like not that hard over time. You might be able to just make it part of your lifestyle and how you live, versus like the idea probably for some people of like running for 60 minutes a day. It's like I'm just like, it's just no. You might have that initial spurt of motivation where you go, right, I'm gonna do it. You do it for 2 weeks, and when you're like, my knees hurt, hurts.
Injuries.
I just like, I don't want to do this. And again, it is good to do hard things, but that's in terms of burning belly fat, consistent calorie deficit.
And I think the other thing we really have to mention, particularly with running, is if you're not in a calorie deficit, running can make you feel really hungry. And so if you're not also monitoring your food intake, it actually backfires for a lot of people. I've had a lot of clients come to me and say, oh yeah, I trained for a marathon a couple of years ago and I actually put weight on and I started running to lose weight. So actually cardio, if you're not also monitoring your intake, can be the worst thing for belly fat because it makes you quite hungry if you're doing those long runs.
Yeah. So again, you've just got to, if you love running, like no dissuading against it. And if you love doing cardio, again, nothing against it. I think actually cardio needs to go back up on a pedestal a bit because of the benefits of it in terms of like your cardiovascular health, and that it is aerobic exercise is really, really good for you. However, when it comes to like specifically losing belly fat, doing tons and tons of cardio that you hate is not sustainable and doesn't have any extra benefits to losing belly fat.
Don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Moving on to myth number 5, which is belly fat is just going to happen as you get older. Middle-aged spread.
Yeah, it's just bullshit, isn't it? Like we just got
straight in there.
Yeah, well, we just got to not accept these. I think we do this in a lot of different stages of life. We just accept these statements or these beliefs that
or
people
norms.
have. Or norms, yeah. And it's like that doesn't have to be the case at all.
It was assumed that as you get to like midlife, that your metabolism slows down. And so by metabolism, what we mean is like how much energy your body uses every day. So we break that down into what we call total daily energy expenditure. It's quite hard to say.
Yeah.
And so you've got within that different parts of your metabolism. And what people used to think your basal metabolic rate. So
Yeah.
like your coma calories.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to find a more PC way of saying that, but basically like if you're not thinking about anything, if you're not jiggling, if you're not doing anything, the calories your body needs just to like stay alive.
Yeah.
People used to think that slowed down as you got older. But research now shows, actually quite recent research, 2021, that our cells, that metabolism we're talking about, is the same until we're over 60.
Yeah. The main contributors to somebody's metabolism slowing down as they age is that if you're not doing resistance training after 30, you'll start losing a percentage of your muscle, and that speeds up every decade. So if you start becoming lighter and under-muscled, or the amount of muscle in your body goes down, you burn fewer calories at rest, and you also burn fewer calories while you're being active. So you can actually just mitigate that as a whole by just doing full body resistance training. And then the other one is that people's movement goes down. So just like as people get old, they tend to move less. But if you actually keep the same amount of muscle in your body and stay active, your metabolism does not slow down. They've set up to as high as 60, but there's even more stuff coming out that like it doesn't even slow down after that if you're able.
Even if it is after 60, it's 0.07% a year. It's teeny.
It's teeny. And, you know, we had a recent post about this, didn't we, on Instagram, where this got put up on like, tell that to a woman going through menopause. And I just got absolutely just like obliterated in the comments, and just everyone calling me for this and for that. And you don't know what you're talking about. Get back in your lane. Stop mansplaining. Yada, 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 yada. And it's like, of course, we understand like the struggles that women go through, and especially some of the struggles that women can go through in menopause. But like your metabolism isn't slowing down. Like your physiology isn't changing. It's your behaviors that your menopause is affecting your behaviors.
Yeah.
In terms of like, you might be getting night sweats, so you sleep poorly, and because you sleep poorly, you drink more coffee, and you drink more coffee, and you want more sugary treats, and they're all accessible to you right now, so you end up over consuming calories. So it's one of them, like, belly fat is not inevitable as you age. There's definitely things that you can do, and the stronger of a foundation you build in your teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, the easier it will be to maintain as you get older. Now, that's not to try and dissuade anyone who's older who's listening. You can definitely reverse the weight that you've gained and the belly fat that you've gained. It's just going to be a little bit harder, which is the same.
And actually, we had an amazing guest, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, Annie. She didn't even start lifting weights or anything until she was 50.
Yeah.
And she looks incredible at 53.
Yeah.
So it is definitely not too late. But yeah, to come on to your point about menopause, that was myth number 6, meno belly. Men and women do have a tendency to carry fat more around their abdomen as they age. And because of the changes in estrogen, women do tend to carry it more around their abdomen after menopause. But that's only if you have more body fat. And what we're talking about in all of this is if you don't have elevated levels of body fat in general, you won't have elevated levels of belly fat. So yes, your body might store more on your tummy if you were to gain body fat, but if you don't gain the body fat, there won't be anything to put.
Yeah, on episode 70 on the Body Smart podcast, we had Anise, and Anise spoke about in the 1970s, women going through menopause gained an average of 2 pounds, but in 2023, women are gaining like 20 to 30 pounds. So the really empowering message from that for any woman going through perimenopause, menopause right now, is that your physiology has not changed in the past 50 or 60 years, which is that's great news. And obviously, it's not going to. Physiology takes hundreds, thousands of years to even make minor shifts, which means, okay, well, why are women gaining so much weight? And Anise goes on and talking about that we live in this obesogenic environment, fast food, high stress,
poor sleep, more alcohol.
Yeah, probably like both parents are working in the household. There's just like more things to juggle and manage. And I think this kind of comes back to what we were just saying a bit earlier, which is the stronger the foundation you have in your 20s, 30s, that like kind of like foundation of health, whether that's like regularly getting your steps in, regularly doing strength training, eating good whole foods diet, having strategies to manage your stress, minimizing screen time at certain times of the day. All of those things, the stronger of a place they are in, when menopause comes, the better you will be equipped to deal with it.
Yeah.
If you haven't, and this is also for like just all like phases and seasons of life, in my opinion, is like when that comes, like if you haven't got it, like I feel like Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot, like the storms are coming. You know what I mean? They're gonna come at some point, and if you haven't got like your barriers up and your foundations set, it's going to like wipe some people out. And that's what happens. Like when you go through these certain phases, like things like death in the family or something really significant like menopause or whatever it is, these things that like rock you, they can just completely wipe some people out at those phases of their lives. And that's why building a strong foundation of health is like quite literally the best thing that you can do for your physical and mental well-being.
Definitely. And I think what's really important is we're just saying do the basics. Like move every day, eat healthy whole foods, lift some weights. It's not like become bodybuilder, get super lean, you know, like abstain from all alcohol. Yeah. It's just get that basic healthy foundation. And I think it's really important to say, like, this isn't just Jamie's opinion, my opinion, Anissa's opinion, who is a professor in endocrinology, so she knows what she's talking about. There are so many papers out there now. Literally, there was one that was published this month, and the first line of the summary is weight gain during midlife is not related to menopausal status. And that is the main takeaway from the paper. And the next line is physical activity can help reduce the risk of midlife weight gain. So again, the takeaway is empowering, because menopause isn't the reason you're struggling. Menopause is something you can't control. Physical activity, you can control. And they've shown that that can decrease the risk of midlife weight gain. So let's latch onto that. Let's not latch onto like, oh, you're diminishing menopause, because that's not what we're here to do. And again, like so many of these studies explicitly say things like it is the unique barriers to the adoption of a healthy lifestyle that causes issues during menopause or perimenopause. It's not the menopause itself. And they explicitly say that. But the problem is there is such a big market out there of women who are going through this period of their lives. If they're told menopause is the problem and I've got a product that solves that for you, then of course companies are going to try and buy into that, because it's a big money making opportunity for them. But you don't need to buy into that shit, because it isn't the problem. Like literally all you need to do is build yourself a healthy lifestyle. And we're not saying that that's necessarily easy at this point in your life. And so again, one of the takeaways from these studies is actually HRT can be really helpful to overcome these symptoms that make it difficult. So the fatigue, the poor sleep, the hot flushes, they can make it really difficult to be consistent with a good diet, be consistent with exercise. And if HRT allows you to take that challenge away from being healthy, you then put the healthy habits in place, you're on the same kind of footing as somebody who's 25, in theory. And it does explicitly say, like, HRT doesn't fix menopausal, in inverted commas, abdominal fat. That it alone is not the answer. It's helping people address the lifestyle issues. Yeah.
So like if menopause, like menopause and male menopause is just a hormone deficiency.
Well, it's a hormone adjustment.
It's a hormone adjustment. Yeah, your hormones will be less than they used to. Yeah. So they change, you know, like men's testosterone levels basically just start dropping after the age of 25 and kind of go a lot more after 30. And it's more of a slower process for men, but that's changing as well. But basically, yeah, when you take something like HRT, the idea is to get your hormones back up to that baseline, like you said, like when you're like 25 or when you're like 19. I think they try and get you to as a guy, which is wild that you could be 50 years old and have the testosterone levels.
I don't think I'd want to be in the same house as a 50-year-old with 19-year-old hormones.
Yeah, that could be fun. So, but like, yeah, that's basically what it is. So, hormones, you know, we speak about them all the time. They rule the world. They play a huge impact in how we think, how we feel, and ultimately how we behave. And that's what we're talking about here, is that the behavior is going to be what has an impact on metabolism or not. So if menopause influences your behavior because you're sleeping worse and you've got brain fog and all these things feel harder than they used to, then yes, that can have a negative impact on, like, going for that walk may feel so much more difficult. Getting that workout in might feel so much more difficult. You might not choose healthier options because you're tired and you want to grab something high and sugar and chocolate. So then when you take something like HRT, making all those healthier choices, it kind of has like a double barrel positive effect, in the sense of you take HRT, your hormones are back in a better place, you're sleeping better, you're feeling better, you make healthier choices. Again, another positive feedback loop, you feel better, you keep taking more action. So I think just the take-home message on this is, like, menopause isn't like a death sentence to belly fat and just gaining weight. And I think most women can probably say, you've been here before with all the other bullshit marketing for the past 30 years. For you've probably been marketed about weight loss stuff since you were a kid. This is no different. This is just a market where people are going to exacerbate the pain and the struggle that you're going through and tell you that they've got the solution. And they are hoping that you fall prey to that again. And often when we say what we say on the podcast, it gets brushed over as overly simplistic. Oh, just get more sleep. Oh, just do strength training. Oh, just do workouts. Oh, just eat whole foods.
And actually, there were a lot of comments on that post saying, oh, you don't know anything. I'm a 48-year-old woman doing all these things and I can't shift the belly fat. But how many clients have we had that have that experience and they work with us and they do?
Exactly. Yes, which is fantastic. And if anyone is looking for some help, you can go over to bodysmartfitness.com. We specifically help women over the ages of 30 lose belly fat or wanting to lose any sort of unwanted weight up to 30 to 60 pounds in under 6 months. So you can go over to bodysmartfitness.com and find out more. But yes, menopause is not.
It's not the reason you've got belly fat, but it might be making it challenging.
Yes.
Ever wondered why losing weight seems so hard after you hit 30? You're not alone. At Body Smart, we specialise in helping women like you over the age of 30 to lose 30 to 60 pounds in less than 6 months. Guaranteed. And that's without restrictive diets or endless hours in the gym. Our approach works because it's delivered through customised, direct, one-on-one coaching. Your coach will tailor a fully personalised plan that fits into your life, focusing on sustainable habits, not temporary fixes. On average, our clients lose 5 to 10 pounds a month, and that's not an outlier. That's what you can expect to achieve month in, month out. And yes, these results are guaranteed. Ready to see for yourself? Visit bodysmartfitness.com to apply. Remember, we're here exclusively for women over 30 who are serious about taking charge of their health. Apply at bodysmartfitness.com.
Okay, so on a similar note, genes, you did mention it earlier, where we carry our weight can be genetic. We will have, for example, certain families, you look at all the females in the family and they tend to have more weight around their hips or their bum. Yeah. But what I wanted to talk about on this one was around particularly the obesity gene that they've found in the last kind of decade or so. So it's called the FTO gene. There's two variants, a high risk and a low risk for obesity. And this is proven now to be a thing. It has very significant impacts on your experience of hunger, your levels of ghrelin in your body, which is your hunger hormone. And so if you've got the high obesity risk version of the gene, then you tend to have higher levels in general of ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone. After eating, it doesn't go down very much, and then it starts to climb back up very quickly. It also has an effect, this gene, on the areas of your brain that are in operation when you're eating, and the effect on your reward center in your brain and your appetite center in your brain. So there is a definite part that is to play of genes in your risk or tendency of putting on excess weight. But there is equally, like with the menopause thing, so many things that are still within your control. And I think it's really important that heredity is not destiny. So just because you have a tendency or you have something in your body which might make you find it more difficult than other people, doesn't mean that you are destined to gain extra weight. Yeah. And so if you educate yourself, right, okay, we know this affects ghrelin, your hunger hormone. If you educate yourself around ghrelin, you can work out if I sleep better, I'll regulate ghrelin better. If I eat high protein, if I eat high fiber, if I eat voluminous foods, I will manage it much better. If I eat mindfully. So all of these things, if you're doing that and you've got one of these high risk genes, you're probably then on the same level playing field as someone who doesn't really bother about their food quality and is in the low risk pool. Yes, you're having to put a bit more effort in, but you can have the same outcomes as someone else. And I think all of this, we are individuals. We don't all have the same effort level to achieve the same things in any area in life. You might be better at maths than me. I'm definitely better at spelling than you. That's just how it is. Yeah. It's the same with this as well.
It is, yeah.
Some people manage hunger better than others. Some people stress eat. Some people stress starve. We're all different. I think the more you can accept that and say, yeah, okay, well, I've got this in my deck of cards that I've been dealt. Yep. So how do I handle it? The more you feel in control and the more you can actually not fight back, but you can feel yeah, okay, genes are an element of it, but I don't need to worry about that because I've got this.
Yeah, we are all dealt a certain set of cards, and it just doesn't serve you to go, well, she's got it so much easier than me, or they've got this or they've got that. Like, it just doesn't serve you. Instead having that self-awareness of, you know what, I do struggle with hunger a little bit more. So for me, it's going to be more important than Susie to make sure that I get protein with every meal. Because if I do get protein with every meal, I know my hunger's not that bad, and that helps me maintain my weight. Fantastic. Like, you being self-aware enough to create strategies that make losing weight or maintaining the weight that you are super easy. And I think just looking at it through that lens instead of pointing the finger, because pointing the finger never serves you. Like, it makes you feel good in the moment. Oh, it's not they've got it so much easier because of their genetics. Or they can eat what they want. They've got a fast metabolism. Like, it just doesn't serve you.
It doesn't change your life.
It doesn't change it. Yeah, you basically are, and like, again, it sounds always really harsh when you're saying this, but you just fall and prey to with victim mindset. Like, it's there for, like, they've got it easier, and it's not trying to, like, diminish sometimes, like, the struggles that people are going through. But I'm just trying to say that so people understand that, like, you have more power than blaming your genes and genetics. And of course they like, I know some people, like some guys, and just as well, like, where some people store fat. Like, I know some people, like some women who store all their fat on what some people would class as more desirable areas, like on the boobs and bum, and not on the stomach. Very rare, but some do.
Yeah.
Some don't. It all goes on the stomach, or it all goes in their arms, or the legs, or the calves. Again, there's nothing you can do about it. So it's just, they're the cards that you dealt. Take the best steps for you. You know, I think about it a lot, like what you just said. Like, I'm dyslexic, and I try not to ever really say that as like a label. I struggle to spell. I use Grammarly through everything. I triple read everything I read before I send it. And sometimes I can't even spell words that close to what I need to spell them that I can get the autocorrect to spell them wrong. So I have to use dictation on my phone to get the actual word. Or sometimes I just change the sentence completely. But it's like, and that's like a struggle I go through every single day. I'm like, no one cares. Like, in the politest way, like, no one cares that's that's just it.
But you found a way around it.
I found a way around it. And it's the exact same here. Like, if you are hungrier than the next person, you too can find a way around it. And as long as you have that mindset, you will be successful with this endeavor.
Definitely. And one more thing on this obesity tendency, same gene. Actually, there was a study in Denmark of 17,000 people comparing this. And back to one of the things we said about menopause, if you are physically active, it almost wipes out the difference between the high risk and the low risk obesity genes. Yeah. So if you've got somebody who is a low risk for obesity, but they don't do any activity, and you've got somebody who's high risk for obesity and they do activity, the high risk person is less likely to be obese. So, you know, you have so many options to take back control. This gene is just a tendency that it's almost like genes are a bit of a flip switch where your actions flip them. Now, I don't know how this gene itself is activated, but there are a lot of genes where unless you do a particular combination of things, that gene isn't going to flip on. And with this gene, potentially, it looks like there's lots of things you can do that stops that gene kind of really revving up to its full max. So if you take those actions, you know, it's part of your physiology and it's there, but it doesn't have to dictate the outcome.
Is that like a certain, do we know where the study was done? Like, in terms of, like, is it like just in the US?
It was in Denmark.
In Denmark?
Yeah.
So for people in Denmark?
It was 17,000 people in Denmark, yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So I could probably find out what the levels of activity were, but it just, when I read the summary and a bit of the results was around people who were active.
Yeah, just like sometimes I just didn't know if that would have been something that was specifically relevant to like America or something instead. But no, Denmark.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. So next up we have another physiological one, cortisol. Stress belly is the reason that I have belly fat.
So you can have all the cortisol in the world, but if you don't have any belly fat and you don't eat more calories than you burn, you won't gain any belly fat. So like it can have an impact. It can have a very big impact, but again, the portion that is going to manage whether you gain weight or gain belly fat is going to be excess calories. So again, if you're managing your calories, while being at maintenance or even being in a deficit, like, you're fine. It's only going to be from the byproduct of excess calorie gain, or consuming more calories than you burn, where you could gain more fat and you could gain more belly fat.
And the thing with cortisol is it does tend to lead to situations where you want to consume excess calories because cortisol is your stress hormone, right? So if you think about what is your body evolved to do when you're stressed, your body thinks, right, there's a stressor, I'm going to have to run or I'm going to have to fight. We better get some energy. Yeah. Let's get something sugary in us right now so that we have the energy to fight or run. So we have a very deep desire to eat sugary, highly palatable foods when we're stressed. Now, that was designed to look after us when stress came along once in a blue moon and we did have to actually physically do something to get ourselves out of that difficult situation. We live in an environment where stress is every day, all day, and we don't have to do anything physical to deal with that stressor. So it might be sending an email. That doesn't burn any of those extra calories you just ate because you were stressed. And so although it's easy to say, just manage your calories and don't eat excess, it is harder to do that if you are constantly stressed. So let's take this one step further and look at like, actually, what can you do to avoid getting in that situation in the first place? Like most of us can't change our bosses or our kids or whatever it is that's stressing us out, but we can change how we react to it.
Controlling the controllables, I think is a huge one. Yeah, so like how you react to it, which I think easier said than done. If you're in like a high stress state, you know what I mean? Like things aren't going well at work, things aren't going well at home, there's a lot of stresses going on. It's very easier to react to several different things, and that, you know, makes things actually worse, not better. But yeah, you know, like if someone cuts you up on the road, like how do you deal with that when it happens? If you like freak out and get super angry, beep your horn, so-and-so, call them all their names, you probably just released a bunch of adrenaline. Cortisol's probably high. You've probably got enough adrenaline. You have to go and run a bunch of miles. Now you're just sat in your car, just raging. You know what I mean? So it's you know, you controlling the controllables is going to be like what you eat, what you watch, who you spend your time with. You know, setting your boundaries, like just controlling the things that you can control. They're going to be the things that, you know, exercising regularly, that are going to be able to bring stress down and just put you in a state where you can manage things better. And yeah, like, you know, like if I just always think this, like if you've got like, let's say your boss is going to be a dick, right? And you don't know this is going to happen. Who's more likely to like react and get really stressed out about it? The person who's had 8 or 9 hours sleep, eating whole foods, exercised that morning, got some sunlight, things are going pretty well, you know what I mean, holistically. The other person slept 5 hours, was doom scrolling last night, comparing themselves to someone else, got up, ate a bunch of processed food, lived on, not had anything but coffee all day, drove to work in a rush, and then the boss comes in and like, you know, like if you just look at them two people in comparison, it's still going to be a sting for both of them, but like one of them is going to be like,
way more resilient.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's that's ultimately like what we're looking for, because humans and people are resilient. That's why we've even got to where we are today, is that we are very resilient people. But you've got to build a foundation of resilience to be able to just maintain.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
I think that's very different advice as well from what you hear from potentially other people, which is, oh, practice meditation or go and start yoga. Like, yes, those things can help, but actually a much more practical way to be able to deal with stress is to build resilience by implementing those things that you mentioned. Yeah. And so regular exercise, as well as we said earlier, like walking is huge. It doesn't even have to be like this big exercise regime. Just getting a walk in every day can really improve your stress regulation, and including because it's outdoors, which we had a great podcast episode with a neuroscientist explaining exactly why. So definitely check that one out. That's with TJ Power. But yeah, so more sleep, less sugar, more time outdoors, regular exercise. Yeah. They will all be things that help you regulate your stress. And funny enough, they'll also help you lose weight and belly fat. Yes. So definitely do all of those things. Okay, we're off the physiological now and we're on to the trends. So myth number 9, belly fat burners.
So like pills or?
Pills.
Again, just like most fat burning pills, the legal and the illegal ones that people can get their hands on, most of the time, all they're going to do is just get you to burn more calories. So they get wrapped up as like a fat burner, but nothing burns fat unless you're going to take a blowtorch to your stomach, which I'm not advising anyone do that. Or if you get like liposuction, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, interesting fact though, I found out about liposuction. Do you know we were saying about visceral fat?
Yes.
And the risks to health. So when you have liposuction on your belly, you're obviously taking fat out from your abdomen, so you're
Yes.
reducing your abdominal fat. You don't actually get those benefits to your mortality risk if it's from
Right.
liposuction.
Yeah.
So, if you were to decrease your waist circumference by 10 centimeters from like introducing a healthy diet, exercise, all those things, you would get an 11%
It's
improvement.
like your body knows, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like your body knows you cheated.
How mad is that?
Yeah, and also just FYI, if the people didn't know this, if you actually do get liposuction, if you gain the weight back, it comes back like bumpy in
Oh,
your stomach. Oh yeah, it does like, like you can be like a bit more like round and smooth in your stomach in terms of like where you gain the fat, but like it's where they basically just, have you seen anyone get liposuction?
yeah, it's pretty
Yeah, they're
aggressive.
just,
If you watch a video of it.
You're just like shoving them in all
Yeah.
different parts of your stomach. So like often where they've taken that out, they'll try and like smooth it out, but the fat can come back in like a very bumpy manner on your stomach, which I don't think anyone wants. But yeah, and then there you go, not getting the actual health benefits from it as well.
Yeah.
We
digress.
Yes, we digress. Yeah, like the pills, the injections, all the different things. None of them directly burn fat. They'll often either like be stimulants, so they'll like increase your core temperature, or they'll like have lots of caffeine in it, so your heart rate will go up. Which for most people who take these, they feel super anxious. They feel a bit like scatty and weird. They can't focus. Their appetite gets suppressed, and if you just look at that, they're basically burning more calories because they're a little bit warmer and the heart rate's higher, and they're really anxious, so they don't eat as much food, so their appetite's suppressed. Just both are like a big no-no, you know what I mean, in terms of just like huge waste of money, not sustainable long term, probably not that great for your heart, and I'd stay far, far away.
Talking of waste of money, literally the first one I put in, guess how much it was for one tub of 2 months worth?
No idea.
£80. £80? Was that like $100 more?
Yeah, like $110, $120. And is that like the cream that you put in your stomach and then wear like a waist?
No, that was
waist trainer?
pills.
That was pills.
That was pills. And I was like, let me have a look at what's in there. KM fruit powder, choline bitarate, green coffee bean extract, green tea, inositol, L-carnitine, betaine, and methionine. I can't say that one, but it's an amino acid. Basically, I was like, right, let me just check these out on examine.com. Literally, none of them have got solid research behind them. All of them have got like, may show a slight benefit, may marginally improve this, but none of them are significant on the research. And a lot of them had like multiple studies that showed there was a result and multiple studies that showed there wasn't a result.
Yeah.
So the people who've created this £80 supplement have gone and found, right, if we put all these things in here, we can technically claim there is research to show that they work.
Yeah.
But you've got to do your research if you're buying these things, because is that research enough for you to part with 80 quid? For me, it would not be.
But it'll probably be wrapped up in some fake reaction video of a doctor, or someone else with a transformation video. You know what I mean? Like that's typically how a lot of these things are marketed.
And like, how legit would this sound? This belly fat contains KN fruit powder, scientifically proven to reduce body fat by up to 6% over 12 weeks. I mean, it sounds pretty legit. And like there probably is a study that shows that. But if you read the whole study, you'd be like, yeah, but that was like 6 people and they also exercised or something. So yeah, save your money, drink some coffee and go work out.
Yeah, anything that like typically promises, like take this supplement and lose this amount of weight in this amount of days. I think that's just like a giant red flag for most products out there, because there's no products, like there's literally no products or supplements that you can take.
There's no magic pill.
That can do that. There just isn't.
Should we just end the episode there?
I mean, I'm sure like to an extent, like a lot of the listeners are like maybe even be getting like fed up with that. We just like repeat so much of the same actions, but because that's what works. Like that's what's worked for like a millennia. Like that's what like you need to be doing. And we will just keep saying it and wrapping it up in a different way until it sinks in for some people, because it's like
we'll just say it the same because that's what we seem to do.
Yeah, but like that's what works.
Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't matter like if something new comes out, like we'll tell you. You know what I mean? But like for most people, it's going to be your sleep habits, your movement habits, your nutritional habits, your stress management, your emotional management, and spending time with people, and like that's it. Like supplements and hormones, they do play a role. Like it depends where you're at. Some people might be deficient in nutrients, even if they've got a healthy diet, so they might need a bit more supplements. People going through menopause might need to look at like HRT. But like, that's it. They are like the 6 pillars of health. And I don't think there's anytime anyone says like, oh yeah, this new thing's come out, it's like, oh, so people exercise more. That's why it's working. It just circles back to these 6 pillars. So yeah, when it comes to losing belly fat, the best thing you can do is get more muscle on your frame, eat an overall healthier diet. And if you need to lose weight and fat, like put yourself in a consistent calorie deficit, and it will eventually come off that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that's harder done than said. Easier said
Easier
than done.
Yeah.
That was a long way of saying it. But yeah, and that's why all of these things sound so appealing, right? Because it's like
a shortcut.
Yeah.
It's the path. It's perceived as the path of least resistance, and stops you from actually having to do the work. And
it's apparently quick and easy.
Yeah, which is just,
yeah.
Again, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
And you probably heard your parents say that. They were right.
I've got one more, which is one of those. And I actually don't know if this is still as popular as it was a couple of years ago, but like waist trainers and body wraps. So it was a big thing, wasn't it, a couple of years ago? Waist trainers, people were wearing them. They're basically corsets. Mm-hmm. So they make you look like you've got a smaller waist because they're literally squishing you into a smaller space. They're not doing anything to your body fat.
No.
But there are reports of people saying, well, I literally can't breathe and my tummy is so squished I can't possibly eat. So maybe they were losing a bit of weight because of that. Yeah. But definitely not recommended.
No, if there's anything that you actually wanted to do to train your stomach, it would be a stomach vacuum. So have you ever heard of a vacuum?
Yeah, it's not like liposuction, by the way.
It's an exercise where you basically like breathe in as much as you can. So almost like your stomach's underneath your rib cage. Yeah. And then you hold it for like 30 seconds and it trains, I forget it's called.
Transverse abdominis.
There you go, transverse abdominis. Yeah. And it's actually like a good exercise to do because how often do people actually suck in their stomachs and hold it? You know, and this can be something that those muscles can get weaker over time when your stomach can protrude and push out more. And
they're very good postural muscles. And actually, waist trainers are really bad for your core muscles.
They're
because
really bad, they weaken them.
Yeah, you don't need to use them because you're using a corset basically to hold you up. So they just go, oh, we don't need to work. Great, thank you. And stop working. So not recommended.
No.
The less extreme version is the body wraps. And I've definitely seen these on like spa menus before where you basically get like covered in a cream or a mud or some kind of like herbal treatment.
Wrapped like a burrito.
Yeah, literally wrapped with like shrink wrap. Yeah. And the makers of them claim that the special creams like increase your body temperature or they reduce toxins in your body. Or
it's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, placebo is a real thing as well. So if you go in and they pitch you that, maybe the cream gives your stomach a bit of a tingle. Yes. You know what I mean? You could walk out and be like, oh, like this has worked.
Yeah.
They're conning you. And
actually what probably does happen is your skin probably like looks more moisturized, more tight, more like a different finish. So maybe you look and feel different, but you haven't lost any belly fat. Yeah. I can hand on heart tell you've lost no belly fat. Mm-hmm. So please don't waste your money unless you really enjoy having someone put a mask on your tummy and wrap you in cling film, which I have to say, I had a pregnancy massage when I was pregnant and I didn't know this was going to be part of it, but she basically put like face mask on my pregnant tummy. And it was the most bizarre experience of my life. It was like nobody touches your tummy normally, right?
Yeah.
Apart from like your partner.
Yeah.
And she was just like smoothing this mud onto my tummy. It was horrible. It was the most horrible.
Oh God, I didn't know whether you were going to say it was really nice or really horrible. No, it was horrible. Yeah.
And so after that, I'm like, why would you pay for this? Why would you want this?
Yeah.
Spend the money on a massage, like a back massage or a foot massage.
Yeah, get your traps released, and shoulders. Yeah, that'll feel nice. That'll lower your cortisol levels. Yeah.
So overall, body wraps, no. Waist trainers, no. Yeah. So I'm sorry to say that there weren't many of these quick fixes that actually work.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other question is, should we even be worried about belly fat?
Yes, you know what I mean. Having that spare tyre, like we said, if it is more than half your waist to height circumference, it does increase the risk of heart disease, the chances of developing type 2 diabetes, and just other health issues, you know what I mean? So yeah, if you are carrying more weight in that area, it is advantageous from a health standpoint if that's something that you care about, which you probably are if you listen to this podcast, it is advantageous to try and lose that weight. And the best thing to do is, like, some people are like, oh, it's just like, it's so difficult to do that. I always just try and get clients to frame it as a season. So just try and, like, you know, going through a season of like 6 weeks or 10 weeks or however long it's going to take, where you just look at stripping off overall weight and fat, and it will start to come off that area. And if you can get that measurement back into a healthier range, you're going to see, as you even said, like all cause mortality go down. And often, like, you can just go through that season of a set period of time, the fat and weight comes off that area eventually, and you can actually go back to like maintaining, which is, the season is different. You know what I mean? It's there's always a season of restriction in anything that we do, whether that's saving for a house or studying to get a degree or whatever else. It's like there's a season, something has to give to make way for that. And I think if you are concerned about your health and the amount of belly fat that you're carrying, viewing it as just like a season, something that you're going to go through a process of doing, is a great way to just get it done.
Yeah. And also, don't make that season miserable. Like we were saying about, you don't need to run every day. You don't need to starve yourself or cut out carbs. Like, you literally need to do 4 simple things: get in a calorie deficit, eat enough protein, move more. Like, and that's walking, like maybe 6, 8, 10K steps a day, and lift some weights. Yeah. That's it. None of these crazy things.
None of these crazy things. No wrapping yourself up like a burrito.
No $100 supplements.
Yeah, nothing crazy like that. And again, it's always that sort of thing, isn't it? If someone says, oh, like, this is the reason you've got belly fat, and I always say, like, take these 10 crocodile pills. People are like, take my money. And it's like, you're like, oh, lift weights, move more, track your food, get better sleep, and be consistent and patient.
Yeah.
And people are like, it's not that simple, Jamie. You don't get it. It's this, it's that, it's this. And I'm like, oh, like, you want to shake people sometimes because you know.
But we know that it isn't that simple in real life, which is why with our one-on-one coaching program, we literally work through why it doesn't feel that simple. Yeah. Like, why does it feel so hard to do these things with genuine curiosity? Like, let's talk through your actual day-to-day life and let's work out what's holding you back. And let's find a way. Yeah. Because there is a way. So even if you're listening to us and going, yeah, I've heard it all before, but it doesn't work for me, I promise, like, we literally promise we'll give you your money back if it doesn't work. Yeah. We can make it work. So go to bodysmartfitness.com.